911, what's your emergency?
Yeah, do you know what day it is?
Sir, this line is for emergencies only.
It's play day.
What do you mean, play day?
It's play day, you know?
No, I didn't call 911.
Okay, people, welcome back to another play day. I love play day, honestly. They do not come frequent enough. I mean, I wish every week I could look at people's work and, what they've done. But I like to have a group. I like to have a bunch to look at the same time, and that takes time. People are painting things. The mail, like it is right now, it just doesn't come often enough. So let's take a look at some of the oddball things I picked up, things that I didn't think needed a review to itself because it's mostly reuse or just slight little changes. But more than that, custom pieces that people have created, that they've painted, that they've sculpted, that they've put their heart into. I mean, there's nothing better than that. I love that more than anything else. The unique items. It's play day. First up, just a couple of G.I.Joe Classified Series figures, but because they're essentially the same figures we've already looked at with some new parts here and there, they go in a play day. Although there is some new parts like the money and the sunglasses. Oddly enough, they both come with some kind of glasses. And then this crazy cape for Destro. Of course, this was a design from later in the original G.I. Joe series where they just threw some animal print and some different colors on them. And this isn't bad. Why is the belt riding so high? There we go. But it's also not necessary. If you don't like this redesign, you don't need it for the line because there's a standard Destro who is very classic inspired. So, choices, options, not a bad thing. Same case with the readout. I like this screen looking thing, red Cobra logo. People can't decide if this is money or C4. I said it was money in the first one. People said it was explosives, but then this time around we get money. So who knows? And I like the look of that. I mean, yeah, it's a bit stylized. The flames are cartoony, but this line, that's what it's about. And then the sunglasses, very 90s. It sits on the nose, it sits on the ears like a real pair of sunglasses, but they're not attached. They don't snap on or anything, they just kind of sit, so be careful with that. And then how does the cape fit on? Does the collar help it stay? Yeah, it's kind of a wedge on there. It goes under a little bit, but that's not coming off too easy. But I love the crazy design. The paws coming up and over with the fur on the back. If you're an early 80s purist, you're gonna hate this thing, but I don't know, there's a wackiness to it. But for Roadblock, same body, same sculpt, just toned down a whole lot from that first Roadblock figure. The shirt's just painted on with the star in here, but the biggest change, of course, you add a magnificent beard to anything, you're gonna get an awesome action figure. And that's what we have here. I mean, it changes the look so drastically from the first Roadblock. So much so that I think some people use the Cobra Island Roadblock as heavy duty. It does make the head seem a little bit bigger, almost better proportion to this body. But I've also seen people taking the vest and head from this Roadblock, putting it over here because of the toned down colors. It's just black at the boots instead of this gold armor. So yeah, definitely like this. Oh, and you get this add-on arm piece too. I didn't see that. Same could be said for the gun. It's still that sci-fi railgun look, but it's big and heavy. There's sunglasses here too. Looks like they're supposed to stay on there because there is actually holes and a ridge sculpted into the head for it. Just slide those on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That looks great. I may need another one of these for, no glasses, do some part swapping, whatever. Keeping with G.I. Joe for a bit longer, and there's a few things after this too, but I just put my Baroness review up earlier this week, and I had seen some people doing this head swap. I thought I'd throw it in here too. You have the Baroness head, you have the Marvel Legends Agent Carter, the head pops off there, and the Baroness head actually fits. If you push too far, it pops down, makes it look like she doesn't have a neck, so you want to have it just floating a bit. And even though this figure is shorter than the Baroness figure, it makes a pretty good stand-in for Major Hooper from the Mass Device arc. And in another case of, did they do that on purpose? The Reaver head that comes with the Marvel Legends Skullbuster, if you take Gung-Ho and pop that head off, I said pop off, there you go. You have to push hard, but once you get it on there, that's a pretty easy X-Men villain just waiting. May have to do some paint or throw on another vest or something just to change the look up a bit, but that's a good body for that head. I'm also still using the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Grim Knight grenade launcher with Gung-Ho. It just works. It fits. Another thing I've seen a lot of people doing online is taking the McFarlane Toys, what's it called? Raw 10 Battlesnake and I don't know, using it as a Cobra weapon. It's rubbery and moves around, but for the most part, it just kind of stands there, which is not a bad thing. You have Destro coming up with this robotic snake to sell to Cobra Commander because he knows that Cobra Commander will buy anything snake themed. Yeah, it's not part of canon or anything, but it works. It's the same organization that sent little furry things to G.I.Joe, and G.I.Joe was dumb enough to go, oh, hey, look, little furry things. And Cobra Commander even signed the card. So this is not outside the realm of possibilities when it comes to Cobra. And then I've seen people putting paint jobs on this that make it even more crazy looking. It's Playday. You can do whatever you want. Jazwares showed off these Fortnite Legendary Series loadout packs back at Toy Fair, but then they've only popped up in Europe. I think it's only Europe, and now Canada, because these were sent to me by Gord Phillips. He goes by Papa Gord here on YouTube, and he actually found these on clearance and said, hey, would you like these? I'm like, yeah, I kind of like Fortnite action figures and weapons. I can't remember if Jazwares has said if these are even coming to the US. I'm not sure, but I had to get my hands on them. I mean, anything to bulk up my action figures. Here's another possible weapon for Roadblock. Oh, and that turns. There's a cartoony look to them, of course. It's Fortnite, but I don't know, background characters, this may work. Or hell, just giving my Fortnite figures newer weapons. Is that actually where? Oh, it's spring-loaded. You're not going to put any eyes out with that, but I think that's the point. And now I have a machine gun, motherfucker. What else we got? This actually moves on the flintlock. Oh, you pull the actual trigger. Got an actual nylon cord on it. I was gonna say, oh, unexpected spring action, but you can actually see the spring through the translucent blue plastic right there. Boop. And then for the wacky double barrel shotgun, that actually breaks down so you can load it, I guess. So thank you, Gord. These will definitely be used at some point. The Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian, the Child, or Baby Yoda, or whatever you want to call it, has been seeing better distribution over the past couple of months, and when I first saw it, I thought, oh, I already have it, don't need it. But then people started talking, and I realized there's actually a running change here. They added more paint apps to the figure, like around the collar. It's not a huge deal. It's just enough to throw some contrast in there to make you think, oh, well, I gotta buy it, I guess. Such a cute little package, too. You can see the collar and the cuffs down on the sleeves just have a bit of lighter color to them. Slightly more accurate, and it makes it feel a bit more natural. Also at retail right now is Star Wars Mission Fleet, and they're kind of small, stylized figures, and sometimes you can get these sets that come with the speeder, and here's the pram, Baby Yoda, Mandalorian, and I'm not into these figures, but look at the size of Baby Yoda there. Huh, look at that. The height is about the same, but the proportions are slightly larger. Plus it's in a more dynamic pose holding that gear shift knob. Oh, there's head movement here. It's a ball joint down at the bottom of a peg. Even better, it comes with this floating crib. There's a moving piece right here, but it only comes to there. It just gives them a little shade. It doesn't close up. Clear stand pops in the bottom. That actually works. What's the Black Series one look like? That'll work in a pinch. Very short clear stand though. If you want it to be higher for, you know, Black Series use, the peg on the, it doesn't really fit. But if you do manage to get it on a stand, that's just very loose on there. The scale, it does work with Black Series. That's about right size. And with that, we get to a custom cape from Rebel10 Customs. If you've ever watched a play day, 99% of the time, Christy has sent something in for me to look at, and she spoils me. When I reviewed the new Beskar Armor Mandalorian, I said I had to get a cloth cape, and boom. Here it is. Now, I'm not sure if he wears the jetpack under the cape in the new season, but the color here and the length, everything seems to fit with some of the pictures I've seen from Disney. And it may stick out a bit because it's going over the jetpack, but because of the wire in the edge here that she's put, that is very, very poseable. I'm able to go up and over, make it lay down, and kind of snug to the jetpack. And I even have this side kind of twisting itself around the thruster down here. Just a dynamic look, and it helps hide the jetpack. Maybe it's a secret thing where he throws the cape back and suddenly... Either way, this is 150 times better than the hard plastic shell cape that came with this figure. This is so much better. She also sent me a Moon Knight cape that's heavy and it drapes and it's, well, it's moon looking, you know? Very nice heavy wire here. You can put this anywhere you want. I may go back to the figure and cut the collar piece off and put it down over this to get that Moon Knight look where it's bunched up around his neck. but otherwise, this fits right in. And then she also sent along a new Spawn cape. At this point, I have a couple of these, one with the battle axe, one with the sword, so I did not mind at all getting an actual posable cape to put on Spawn to get on the shelf. There's a nice tattered look to it. I'm not sure about the shininess, but the more I leave it on here, the more I like it. I love a good, nicely done wired cape. I'm finding wires I didn't know were there. There seems to be another one running right here. It doesn't hold the weight of it up or anything. That's what the outside ones are for, but it makes it a bit more dynamic. It doesn't just lay there. She even has skulls embedded right there with the chain running across. Rebel10 Customs on Instagram if you want some cloth capes for your action figures. I have never been disappointed. I've also featured a few things from Layered Creations, and when I saw he had a Cobra Commander snake throne, I had to jump on it. This is actually in several different pieces, and I need to go in and sand some of the lines down. I've kind of done it here on the outside, but get in here, knock some of that down just to make it feel a bit more natural. But after just one coat of gold, I love how Cobra Commander is so snake crazy. And now I need some kind of throne room for Cobra Commander, because you know it's going to be snakes here, snakes here, snakes here, snakes all over the place. Snakes! Okay, here's kind of an oddball because I don't know who made this. I don't know where it came from. I just found an eBay auction one day that had this and a bunch of other stuff for a damn good price, so I had to grab it. And I didn't quite know what to expect, but once I got it in hand, this thing, oh man, okay, I do have this right here. I need to get inside of it, put some glue down, or get that seated like it's supposed to. It's kind of floating inside, but the rest of them are solid. I mean, there's even a vent in the middle. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it's a kick-ass detail because this is actually hollow. I have no clue how this was made. There's this soft rubbery blanket over the edge right here, and then the pillows are all separate pieces that I can put anywhere. They're almost foam. If I didn't know any better, it'd be like, oh, those are real tiny pillows. But the deal also included the San Diego Comic-Con version of Jabba, along with the hookah thing over here, and even Salacious Crumb that can sit perfectly on one of these pillows. I've had a couple of thrones that were 3D printed, and I never got around to painting because I'm lazy ass, and I seem to never have time for that anymore. But now I have a centerpiece for my Return of the Jedi shelf. And speaking of other paint jobs that I haven't finished yet, here is a head sculpt that I got off eBay from Watto's Scrapyard. Now this is actually supposed to be the Alpha Trawler from the first episode of The Mandalorian, but as soon as I saw the head unpainted, I thought, well, I'm gonna have to do that, right? I've done all the basics here, the gray in the beard, the eyes, the eyebrows, but I need to come back in, do some detail work, do some shading, just to kind of make it a bit more realistic. It looks plasticky right now, and I'm getting old and blind. My ability to paint things this small is getting worse and worse every day. But up on a shelf in a group of other Jedi or in a Tatooine scene, something, this'll work. I can pick it out and go, hey, there's a Robo-1 Kenobi. Here's something I didn't expect to find in the PL box. It just showed up. I opened this, and man, I love some good laser engraving. This is Z3DForge on, well, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and this is actually cut into this piece of cardboard. But even after reading that, I had no idea what to expect. But look at the presentation on this thing. There's a couple of stands here for Marvel Legends X-Men type figures, and then some rock, some concrete, and then I'm gonna say that's some kind of Star Wars. In the note, he says each of these pegs are slightly different, so if it's a problem fitting an action figure on, you just try a different one. But this is amazing. Not just the presentation. I will probably keep this box forever, but the stands themselves too. They're nicely designed, and they don't take up a lot of real estate on a shelf. You put the figure on them, and it's not much wider than the figure itself. A little tight. Wants to pop off just slightly. Let's try the other one. Oh, yeah, okay. That works. I love these things. I'm going to have to find a special place for these. But, like I said, Z3DForge on all the socials. Zach Lewis on Facebook hit me up one day asking if I would like to look at his painted 3D prints, and I was, yeah, always. So he sent along a care package of a ton of stuff. Here's a nano gauntlet with the fingers splayed out. This one's also dirtier and grungier. Maybe this one is after it was used, because there's also one snapping. And just to compare, here is the one that came with the Build-A-Figure Hulk. So it's slightly smaller, but I don't know, there's something to the look of this. Because there's also hands without the bottom part, so maybe this is meant to go with the Marvel Legends part where you snap this onto the hand and use the top part from the actual Hasbro one. There's also one in a fist, and just look at the paintwork. This is crazy with the gold and the colors to the Infinity Gems. It's just awesome. There's one showing displeasure, and there's also another one of those with the darker color scheme. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. He even sent one that he calls the holographic nano gauntlet. It's just cast or printed in transparent blue plastic. He sent along Thanos' sword. It's in 2 parts. I don't think we saw it like this in the movie, but seeing it like this, it's almost... I'd almost take him as more of a threat if he was dual wielding some big ass swords. But these also fit together nice, snug, and that's not coming apart. That will go with one of my Thanos figures. Here's a little Meek that he printed and painted. I can't get over this thing. It looks beautiful. He did Tony's chest box from Infinity War in-game. Was it Infinity War? It was one or the other. But that's cast in blue, and then he painted the silver on the front. Nice and tiny. It's in scale with Marvel Legends. Same goes for the, what is this, Beskar cubes from The Mandalorian. I mean, it even has the Imperial logo up here with the wavy lines. This is the way. He sent along a couple of Darksabers, one with the white energy look to it, one just black. I believe this sword is from Doom. Just look at the detail on this, both the print and the paint. I guess it's all translucent red material, and then he painted on top of it. It's just crazy how this writing or whatever this is kind of fades into the end of it. And then finally, look at this, a tiny 1/12 scale YouTube plaque for 100,000 subscribers. You're gonna make me cry. Back to G.I.Joe, Adam Bradley Freeman sent me a 3D printed Cobra Commander head that is much more classic inspired. You can find more on his Shapeways store. Yeah, it's the light blue, and it might match or at least be closer to the Regal Cobra Commander that's coming from Hasbro Pulse. But it definitely has that 80s vibe, and it looks like a head under the helmet. The one mask and then the helmet on top of that. I think he's doing a Gung-Ho cover at the moment too that's up on eBay. But while I have a headless Cobra Commander in my hands, Shane Rana also sent over a care package, and it had a Cobra Commander head in it too. I've seen this sculpt in pictures before, but actually having it in hand, yes, again, the colors don't quite match Cobra Commanders, but with a paint job, I like how crazy dynamic that is hanging down. But Shane did a fantastic job of painting in, well, it's actually raised edges for the Cobra logo here, but again, it's nicely painted, the eyes punched in. Yeah, I may have to do some blue matching, because he also sent a lighter blue version that, again, may match that Regal Cobra Commander from Hasbro Pulse. But he didn't stop there. He also sent along a head from Casting Cave that he himself painted up, and I like how that matches the factory skin tone of the Black Series figure here. Obi-Wan has that worn out look to him. And then there's also this Darth Maul head that has kind of a sneer to it. I'm not sure where this head actually came from, but it is a cast. It is one Shane painted, and I like the darker red here. I was okay with the archive edition of the Black Series figure where it's photo-reeled in the eyes, but this may go in the tub, and Darth Maul's gonna have a smile on his face. I think it was last play day that I showed this Baze Malbus head sculpt I got off eBay from Camaro Dude 1967, and it just does so much for this figure. And since this made me so much happier, you know what I had to do, right? I had to do it. Here's his repainted Chirrut. Again, such a fantastic job. The problem here, though, unlike Baze, where it covers up the neck for the most part, you can see Chirrut's neck just poking out with that terrible, terrible Black Series skin tone that they used on this figure. So I'll have to come in, kind of match that up eventually. Same thing goes for Jen. A paint job does so much to the stock Black Series head sculpt, but again, the skin tones, well, that doesn't really matter down there, but the neck really stands out now. Director Krennic looking so much better. I mean, the shade work, the detail paint. I've always been okay with these bodies. It's always been the heads for the Rogue One crew. His neck isn't as noticeable, but if I'm already doing 2 other figures, I might as well do this one too. Or make it 4 figures, because I had to get Cassian, might as well finish out the crew. These figures were to the back of a display, up on the shelf, up in the shadow, but with new heads, with new paint jobs, I'm going to have to find a new shelf for Rogue One, a little bit more prominent. And then we'll finish off today with some Casting Cave head casts and paint jobs, because Man, Corey does some good work. When it comes to the Hasbro Build-A-Figure Apocalypse, I never cared for the clenched teeth look. I always think of Apocalypse as cool, calm, and collected, so when I saw this pop up on Casting Cave, I had to grab this head. I'm pretty sure this is a shrunk-down Toy Biz Build-A-Figure Apocalypse, but I don't even mind. Look at that. That looks amazing. Look how the eyes kind of pop out with the light. And now I need to finish building this Apocalypse. These legs came with Psylocke and Multiple Man, which were both figures that I opened a long time ago. So I've seen those legs floating around in my bins in the room somewhere, but now that I'm actually looking for them, you know I can't find them. But they are somewhere in there. When I go to look for something else here in a couple weeks, I'll run across those legs and I'll finish off my Apocalypse. I also snagged a young Jackie Chan head and put it on this articulated icon's body. Yes, it's buff, it's muscled, but I'm okay with that. Jackie can run around my Marvel Legends shelf or anywhere he wants to go, really. I also grabbed an unmasked Matt Murdock for my Netflix Daredevil, and I think we got one of these. I think it was the San Diego set, but you can't hardly beat a hand-painted head, you know? And finally, I wanted to make my Sabretooth a bit meaner, so I grabbed this head cast. I think this is the Marvel Select head, but comparing it to the Marvel Legends one that came on here, there's nothing wrong with this. I like how the hair flows, and he has his mouth open, showing some fangs, but there's something about this that's more animalistic, I think. Plus, again, with that hand-painted shading and the wash work, the details, yeah, I really like this. So at the end of the day, man, there's nothing like a play day. It's humbling every time I go to the P.O. box or to the mailbox and see something that somebody sent along for little old me to look at. People put their blood, sweat, and tears into this stuff, and just to have something unique on the shelf like this, there's nothing like it. It hits me right here every time. I love action figures in general, and I love stock stuff a lot of the time, but as soon as somebody shows me, oh, hey, I painted this, or I sculpted this, or I printed this out, something, I created this, there's something beautiful about that. A lot of these people have their websites, they have their Instagrams, they have places where they sell. I'll have all the links to that down in the description. Go give them a look. Even if you're not in the market to buy something, just go check out their work because it's totally worth your time. So if you enjoyed this Playday, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or just in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. The bad thing about getting stuff like this, if there's a downside, is that I'm running out of room. I get stuff like this, it doesn't go in a box. It needs to be shown off, either in video or, you know, in my own little display where I can look up and go, that's awesome.